the kitchen. There's no space up there for the kitchen. Function, because I'm going back to my architecture. I'm back being an architect. Come on, guys, let me tell you how it's done here. It's a ship, but hey, it's like a building.
Yeah.
And I go, the course room can be anywhere. Who cares about the course room? Let's put the course room up there. And they go, hey, you don't understand. Let me explain to you the way it is. These drawings are all approved. These sketches are approved by the upper management, by David Miscavige himself.
We aren't going to change them now.
These drawings are cast in stone. You don't come on here, and be an architect and start telling us how to do this. We are telling you this is how it's going to be done. You just have to figure it out. You don't come in here being creative, like throwing in your little ideas of like how it should function and offering little hints. That is not what we want. You need to work out how to get these sketches reality. So I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm not used to working like this as an architect. I'm used to I'm respected. I would in England. I would go into meetings with I work for Gillette, and I would see the boss of Gillette, and he would say, okay, Lawrence, we want to do a factory. How can we make this function? Well, I go, okay, well the trucks arrive here, you unload here. We'll do the injection molding here. This was with the boss of Gillette UK. I'd be working with him, and I would be respected. And he would say, you're the architect, this is what we want, we'll pay you thousands for this, and it's a cool job. I loved it.
Yeah.
Now I'm on this ship, and I'm, saying, okay, guys, you need to rethink this. This isn't functioning, And almost on every level, they had I'm going, you can't have a course room next to a kitchen. The noise from the kitchen will disturb the course room. You can't have a restaurant not next to a kitchen. You can't get the food to the restaurant, guys. You can't have offices, next to cabins. I'm taught all about function and planning, and these people have no idea.
Right.
But they won't listen to me. I'm just like a low. I'm not even an officer in the Sea Org, and these people are like lieutenants and captains in the Sea Org. So even though they know nothing about architecture, nothing about design, I'm like nobody to them, except, but you do have this one use, you can draw plans. So you have this little use, but you just do your little thing and don't bother us. But we need you. So I'm I've never experienced anything like this. And anyway, and then it's not before long, the guy Reynolds I see is like a kind of a cabinet guy. We're in a cabin.
Now the Reynolds I see means renovations in charge.
He's in charge of the renovation project.
Uh-huh.
And I'm not used to having people be in charge of me as an architect. I'm the architect. I'm in charge of construction.
Right.
I tell contractors what to do. He's telling me what to do. I don't like it, but whatever. You have to, So anyway, he says, let's find out what these walls are made of in a cabin. So he grabs a hammer and he pounds it, he smashes into this wall. I see this blue powdery substance, particles flying. I go, Steve, stop, I'm pretty damn sure that's asbestos. And I'm like, because I've learned all about asbestos in architecture school. And I go, you're releasing it, let's do something, let's seal it up, let's get the hell out of here. I'm freaking, panic mode. Because I've been in factories in England with asbestos. If they find asbestos, they freak out. The whole thing's closed down because, one little particle of asbestos is microscopically like a little fishing hook. And we were releasing probably millions of these particles. And then one little particle, you breathe it in, it hooks into the lining of your lung, and then there's no way, the lung can't flush it out. It's hooked in with a little barbed hook. The lung can't flush it out with mucus or anything, and there it's there, and then, as I understood it, medical research showed one little particle 20 years later, you've got lung cancer. One particle. And we've just
released... It's a carcinogen.
It's a carcinogen, yeah. They used to use it all the time because it's a great insulator, it's a great material, but then they replaced they never used asbestos in England anymore since the 70s because it's one of the deadliest materials known to man. It's so what do you do? And
if you have a building or a ship with asbestos.
It's either that building is immediately sealed off with plastic sheets, with airlocks, and then they're called in a special asbestos abatement company, licensed and totally specialists, and they would wear spacesuits, with respirators and air tanks, and they would remove every last particle of it, dispose of it in proper bags, and then it will go to a special hazardous materials dump. And then, then the building would be certified asbestos-free, and then we could, then you'd have to use new insulation materials, asbestos-free, and unbelievably expensive. But then, no company wants to own a building that is full of asbestos that, people can sue them, and,
What about a ship? What do you do about a ship?
I didn't know at that point what would you do. And so then I'm walking around the ship and I go into the engine room and I see panels missing from like the control room, a panel missing, and I see a big chunk of blue asbestos hanging down. What I identify as blue asbestos. Now in my lectures in England they told us that there's the deadliest form of asbestos is called blue asbestos, and I don't know if I'm being exactly technical correct or if the terms are the same in America, but I believe they coloured it blue especially to show that it was hazardous. It's not blue, it's painted, it's dyed blue. Mm-hmm. And they said, if white asbestos, microscopically, one hook, it's like one little fishing hook. Blue asbestos is like a barbed ball of like hundreds of hooks, one particle. So if the one hook gets into your lungs and it doesn't hook on, the barb has hooks in all directions and it's going to hook on. So that's like the most deadly.
Dangerous.
It's even more dangerous. So I'm like, okay, so I said, I will find the chief engineer on the ship, who's a guy called Wack Alcock. I think he was from New Zealand. And he will know. So I go to him and I say, sir, you have asbestos in your engine room just hanging there. And he says, it's not asbestos. I'm the engineer. It is not asbestos.
What did he say it was?
I said, yeah. He said, it's just insulation. So, okay, I can't believe this. So, and I'm like beginning to question my own education. I'm pretty damn sure. I've been to lectures on it, and they've shown it to us in class. Like,
so, were there any plans for this ship?
Yeah, I then went, into his office, and I found a full set of blueprints. The ship had been built in Finland, I think, in 1968, and they're a full set of blueprints. I pulled them out. I think blueprints. At last, I know what I'm doing. And then, but it's all in Finnish. Whatever language, I believe Finnish. But then asbestos is the same. So then asbestos, like all of the...
You're seeing this written on
I see the
plans?
word asbestos, like, they've got a section through the ship showing all the walls, and they're saying asbestos with an arrow. So it's on the underside of every deck.
So it is asbestos?
It is asbestos.
It's blue asbestos in the ship?
Everywhere. Sprayed on when the ship was in the shipyard. They built the steel... They built the hull and then they just spray it.
Now, isn't asbestos so deadly that, it's actually illegal to have any asbestos at all in a structure where people are going to be?
Right, exactly so, yeah. And it's, back in England, they made it like a criminal offence to knowingly have asbestos, particles released into the air. If you do it by accident, then, but as soon as you knowingly release it or don't do anything about it, you can, it's a prison term, a huge fine.
Well, and these people knew, they had the
also in
plans.
California, in the whole of the United States, it's the same. Very, very serious, So I've been schooled in this, you see asbestos, you like scream and get it handled,
and get out of there.
And get out of there, yeah. And so anyway, I was running around going, asbestos, asbestos, everyone run. And they're going, whoa.
Can't believe it.
And they won't listen to me.
So this chief engineer, Wack Alcock, said it's not asbestos?
He said, it is not asbestos. He said, I'm the chief engineer, blah, blah, blah. I knew it was, I had no question in my mind. And then I saw the blueprints. So then about this time, a lady called Biddy Miscavige, who was like...
now, Biddy Miscavige is married to David Miscavige's brother, Ronnie, isn't she?
And she was like, I think, Commander Biddy Miscavige.
She's a Commodore's messenger.
Yeah, she was
in the CMO.
In the CMO organization. And she was, with a fancy uniform. She was in overall charge of everything to do with the ship, over the captain, over everything. So she arrived at the ship. So I go up to her and